Hi everyone, I'm going to give you the breakdown of your collaborative annotation assignment that's going to be due at the end of week 5. So you want to make sure you read these directions very carefully because I cover pretty much the nuts and bolts of what you need to know to complete this successfully. But you should know that you're in groups of 2 or 3 max, and everybody's in the same section so that there's no cross listing, and it's just random the way the groups were assigned. And you want to make sure that you watch the TED Talk video and make sure to read along with the transcript in the Google document before you start annotating, because this assignment is different from the annotations that we've done from the first few weeks of the semester with Mortimer Adler and Cindy Chupak. This is different. This is about rhetorical analysis, and so you don't want to just start this 5.8 assignment without having read everything in week 5 prior to 5.8. So I read everything from 5.1 to 5.7, okay? So what it's going to look like if you're in the collaborative annotation assignment, everybody's been assigned into groups. And so what it's going to look like is you should have gotten an email about collaborating. This is not the full extent of the instructions. It's just a brief intro. But what will happen is when you go to the collaborations tab here, this is going to be available to you pretty soon here. I'm just going to activate it as soon as I release week 5's module. This is where you go to access your collaborative group. You're going to see just one thing to click on. If you're group 14, then you're going to go to group 14, and you're going to see that I've already copied and pasted for you the TED Talk to Scott Dinsmore, How to Find Work You Love, which, by the way, I chose this topic because we're about to embark in a new unit on education and career pathways, and so I thought this would be a really great opener. And so, especially because some people are still undecided or undeclared, or they're not sure if what they've decided on as their major is 100% what they want to do, and I just think it's just really inspiring to choose a speech, something you can listen to and watch over and over again. So make sure, if you want to go ahead and watch this, you can go to this link and listen to it first before you begin actually trying to rhetorically break it down. My advice to you, because it is 17 minutes long, okay? My advice to you is to watch and listen to it. Just try to use your comprehension skills at that point. Make sure you understand what he's saying. And then you're going to look at this with a rhetorical lens based on everything I've covered in module pages 5.1 through 5.7, because that's going to set you up for success when you come in as a peer, as one of your group members, annotating this, because you don't want to comment on what he's saying, you want to comment on what he's doing, and that's very, very different, right? So when you insert a comment, if you've never done this before, it's really easy to do. You just go to insert, you can go to comment, but I think what's easiest is the fact that you can just highlight something and the little comment, add a comment button will pop up, and it'll record your name and your what you want to say, and you want to lead with active verbs. So here, Dinsmore is he presents personal testimony, and don't worry about how much you like the work you're doing now. It's all about just building your resume. Presents personal testimony of a friend who reassures him. That's what he's doing, right? I'm not summarizing what is being said at 12 seconds in, but I am going to make sure I click the comment button, and then it's going to get saved. And then what happens is it's going to be timestamped with my name, and my peers in the group will be able to log in on their own time and be able to see my comments. You can reply to any comment. This is what it looks like ultimately when you end up commenting at least 15 times throughout the page, right? This was something that was done in the summer, and I had 2 students, Val and Amanda, and they were just in their own time commenting. There's the date and the time. It's all stamped there. And they're going back and forth trying to shed light on what the author is doing. Here he explains more context in favor of argument. Here he provides a problem solution framework. Here maybe there's something about a counter argument. And then I'm coming in and maybe posing more questions. I get to engage with you guys too. And this is, look at all the replies, right? I ask a question and then Amanda is showing her critical thinking about logical appeal. And here I'm validating Amanda's comment, and then I pose a follow-up question about logical appeal. So there's a lot to think about: emotional appeal, logical appeal, ethical appeal. There's a lot of focus here on audience and different types of evidence. There's so much to unpack in any given text. So going back to and just as a final warning, you don't want to oversaturate. So even though I said minimum 15 comments for credit, and you want to comment beginning, middle, and end all throughout in range of rhetorical analyses, look what happens by the end. They commented so much, it just like keeps going, and you don't want that, right? You don't want to annotate to the point that like it just goes on and I can't even figure out which comment connects back to which part. So spread out your comments, work together to give collective analyses, and do so in real time. And the sooner you engage, the better. And this is why I basically said in your group, you want to make sure you insert at least 3 comments somewhere in the first few pages, and there's 8 pages, so you can decide where you want to do that. Engage in there early on so that your peers see that they're not alone in this. The best groups I've ever seen are the ones who definitely do not procrastinate because they know it's more than just about them. Everybody has until 10 p.m. Sunday, but there can be some experiences of frustration if some peers go in early and other ones don't log in until 9:45 p.m. on Sunday night, September 22nd. Like that can feel like, you know, the other person is doing most of the thinking and work and you're not going in there adding your part. So that's why I'm saying you really should insert, and I'm going to look for it. I'm going to look for everybody to insert at least 3 comments by Wednesday night, 10 p.m. The good news is this is a really motivated group. Like everybody's such a motivated student that I really don't foresee any problems with this. Plus it's just a low stake practice activity. So there's no reason to feel any sort of frustration if it's just a practice assignment anyway, but I want to make sure you're on track with the rhetorical lens that we're exploring in this unit, so the sooner you start, the better. And so going back to the assignment here, make sure to read this and you have your own Google account. You are setting aside time during week 5 to add those 15 comments minimum. 3 should be inserted by 10 p.m. on Wednesday. And then make sure to insert rhetorical analysis-based comments. You should not be summarizing what the author or the speaker is saying. You should be explaining what he's doing. And I have a list of questions here that you can follow. If you're still not sure what I'm looking for final points given, this is what I'm looking for, the criteria here. And the last thing I'll say is if you end up not doing this assignment at all, it's more than just losing 15 points. You're also losing points for week 6 because you're going to have to do a reflection on what your peers said and how you deepened your rhetorical analysis insight just from what they've said. So everyone will have to go back to the Google document in order to read what people have shared by the deadline, and then so it's not like one and done. You're going to go back and reflect on what you learned and what you learned from your peers, and you actually do need to quote from your group members in order to get the full credit of 5 points for the personal reflection on this collaborative activity during week 6. So make sure you don't lose extra points just because you didn't do this assignment. It's just going to hurt your grade if you're missing this major component. And the whole point is that this is a stepping stone in developing rhetorical analysis thinking and reading. And so I really encourage you to collaborate with your peers and engage and see what you find out and learn in the process, okay? So I hope I made this meaningful and interesting and gave you plenty of time to work on this with your group. And if you have any questions, let me know. Good luck.